He weighed 18.3 pounds the first time they weighed him. Not a kitten, not a stray that needed saving, a fully grown silver giant with green eyes that held the calm, unmistakable authority of someone who had already made several important decisions. And the most important decision he had made was that this house was his. But to understand how Sterling came to reorganize every cabinet, every shelf, and every corner of a 4-bedroom home in suburban Ohio, and why a family of 4 quietly let him do it, you have to understand what he was when they first brought him home, and what they were. Michael and Diane Carter were both 41, 2 kids, Josh, 13, and Clara, 9. They had owned a cat before, years ago, before the kids, a small orange tabby named Peel who passed at 17 and left behind a cat bed nobody could bring themselves to throw away. They had not planned on getting another cat. Clara had said nothing about it. She had simply started leaving the old cat bed by the back door every morning as if preparing for an arrival nobody had officially announced. It was Josh who found Sterling, not at a shelter. Josh found him on a Tuesday afternoon in November, sitting in the middle of the driveway. Not lost, not afraid, just sitting. Silver gray fur with white patches across his chest and chin, long, tufted ears slightly too large for his head, and a tail so extravagantly full it swept the ground behind him. He looked at Josh with the patient expression of someone who had arrived for a scheduled appointment and was simply waiting to be let inside. "He's just visiting," Michael said that evening. "He doesn't have a collar," Josh said. "He might belong to someone nearby," Diane said. Sterling walked through the open back door, located the old orange cat bed by the back wall, stepped into it, turned once, and lay down. He did not look up. "He belongs to us," Clara said quietly. Nobody argued. The first week was what you might call an orientation period. Sterling's orientation, not theirs. He moved through the house at his own pace, pausing in each room with the focus of someone conducting a thorough property evaluation. The living room sofa, acceptable, southeast corner preferred. The armchair by the window, excellent light, personally claimed. The kitchen shelves, adequate height, requires improvement. That last item became apparent on day 3. Diane came downstairs at 7:14 a.m. to find Sterling sitting on the second shelf of the open pantry, directly between a stack of dinner plates and a row of ceramic bowls. He was not stuck, he was simply there, settled and composed, as if the shelf had always been his and the dishware was the recent addition. "Sterling," Diane said. He blinked once. She took a photo. She sent it to Michael with no caption. He replied, "Why does he look like he owns it?" Because he did. But what happened next, nobody in that house saw coming. It started small. By the end of week 2, Sterling had quietly relocated 3 items from the lower kitchen shelf to the counter: a ceramic rooster figurine Diane had owned since college, a small wooden spice rack that had been in the same spot for 6 years, a single decorative gourd that had somehow survived 4 consecutive autumn seasons without being thrown away. All 3 were found side by side on the counter, as if arranged. "Did you move these?" Michael asked Diane. "No." Clara said nothing. She was watching Sterling, who sat beside the relocated items with the composed satisfaction of a curator who had just improved an exhibit. By week 3, he had reorganized the bottom shelf of the hall bookcase. 3 paperbacks had been pushed to the floor. A framed family photo had been nudged 2 inches to the left. A small succulent in a white pot had been moved from the bookcase to the windowsill, which, as Diane noted, actually got significantly more light. "He's not just moving things," Josh said one evening. "He's fixing things," Clara said. If you're still watching and you haven't subscribed yet, I have to be honest, that stings a little. Hit subscribe right now. You are not going to want to miss what happens next. Month 2. Sterling discovered the upstairs linen closet. This required patience, planning, and the ability to turn a lever-style door handle with both front paws, a skill the family did not know he possessed until they heard the soft click of the latch at 6:47 a.m. on a Thursday. Michael stood in the hallway and watched Sterling pull the door open, step inside, and began a methodical review of the folded towels on the second shelf. He did not knock them down. He pressed each stack lightly with one paw, assessed it, and moved to the next. 3 towels that had been folded irregularly were nudged out of alignment and left on the floor in a neat pile, like laundry waiting to be refolded. "He's correcting us," Michael said to Diane that evening. Diane looked at him. "He's been correcting us since week 1, she said. Little did they know they were only halfway through the corrections. By month 3, the family had quietly stopped trying to restore things to their original positions. Not out of surrender, out of curiosity, because every change Sterling made, without exception, turned out to be an improvement. The succulent by the window flourished, the relocated spice rack was easier to reach, the bookcase looked intentional. Even the 3 incorrectly folded towels, once refolded, revealed that Diane had been doing it wrong for 11 years. And then at exactly 2:51 a.m. on a Saturday in January, everything shifted. Clara woke up with a nightmare. She came downstairs without turning on the lights, sat on the kitchen floor with her back against the cabinet, and did not make a sound. She had done this before, both times alone. This time, Sterling walked in within 40 seconds. He didn't come to her immediately. He stopped in the center of the kitchen, looked at her with those steady green eyes, and then walked directly to the cabinet on her left. He pressed one paw against it, looked back at her, pressed it again. Clara opened the cabinet. Inside, pushed to the back behind a cutting board, was a small flashlight, the one she had lost 3 weeks ago, the one she always kept on her nightstand because she was afraid of the dark. She sat there on the kitchen floor at 2:51 a.m., flashlight in her hands, Sterling in her lap. She did not cry. She turned on the flashlight and held it, and breathed, and felt the low, steady vibration of his purr move through her like something settling into place. What she said the next morning would stay with Michael and Diane for a very long time. "He didn't reorganize the house," Clara said at breakfast. She poured cereal without looking up. "He reorganized us." By spring, Sterling weighed 18.6 pounds. He had claimed 4 shelves, 3 windowsills, 1 linen closet, and the southeast corner of the sofa as permanent territories. The orange cat bed by the back door, the one they had never thrown away, was his only sleeping spot. He had chosen it on day 1. He had never slept anywhere else. Josh had stopped calling him the cat sometime in February. One day, Sterling was the cat that showed up in the driveway. The next, he was just Sterling, the one who knew the flashlight was, the one who corrected the towels, the one who found the light. They had not planned on getting another cat. They had not planned for 18 pounds of silver gray certainty walking through their back door and quietly, methodically making their house better than it had been. But Sterling didn't need a plan. He needed a door left open. And once he had that, he handled everything else himself. Because some cats don't come into your life to be taken care of. They come to take over. And some houses don't know what they're missing until a silver giant reorganizes every shelf and reminds them. Do you think some cats understand us better than we understand ourselves? Or is that just what we want to believe when they do something that leaves us speechless? Tell me in the comments.